everyone, if you're new to the US or you're planning to come to the US soon, let me save you the chaos I went through. Hi, I'm Tanu Bhasin. I came to the US 5 years ago and I was not sure what I was getting into. I came on a student visa and work visa, so I wanted to create this video for anyone who's planning to come here on an H1, L1 or O1 visa to share all the tips and tricks that I wasn't aware of. I thought I would just land in the US, get my first paycheck within a week. But it's not that simple. So here is a 10-minute guide for you with 7 steps that you must do in your first 30 days of coming to America. By the end of this video, you will have a plan laid out for you, which will really help you be more confident in your move to the US. Now, the first step is really to get a phone plan. So as soon as you land on the airport or you're in your hotel, just grab your phone, download some apps and get this phone number. Because obviously you will need the phone numbers everywhere in the US for all your documentations that you're going to do after you land in the US. And obviously you don't want to be paying roaming and you will need access to the internet because there will be just so much information that you need to have handy all the time. Just do this first and get it out of the way. So here's the deal. If you're traveling alone, like I did, I remember just getting into the hotel, downloading this app and getting a new number activated within an hour or so. And I think I paid maybe around like $30, and that's like decent pricing. Yes, it was a shock for me because I was only paying like 500 rupees in India, which is like not even $5. So yeah, doing 6 times the cost was definitely a shock. But that's a very nominal fee. So if you want to choose the fastest way to get the number, this is the one. Now, there are 3 big companies, AT&T, T-Mobile and Verizon, which hold most of the telecom network in the US. And then they have their subsidiaries or small companies that they've acquired over time, which are cheaper than these big brands. If you go with the big brands, you have to pay somewhere around $50 to $100 per month for your plan, depending on if you're getting some add-ons or whatever. But of course, you get corporate discounts, and sometimes you can also just ask upfront if they have any discounts for you and they would let you know. Now, some people are curious and they ask me if they also have to buy new phones. Sometimes you might have to. I had an iPhone, so I didn't have much of a problem. I just changed my location settings and it was able to get on the US network. But with some phones, it does not let you change those location settings, and also they might block some of the apps that are must to use in the US, like Venmo for transaction services and things like that. So if you're also having that problem, you might need to buy a new phone. So just keep a little bit of budget for that. But also, if you go with these brands, they also give you like a nice deal with just giving you a phone for free. If it works for you, then just grab the deal. So I'll list in the description some of the good service providers that are cheaper, so check it out. So number 2 is, of course, your SSN, your social security number, the most important thing in the US. That's like having your own identity in the US. You need this like for getting your paychecks, for any sort of transactions, for opening a bank account, for getting your driver license. More or less everywhere you need this number. So if you're coming here on a work visa, just grab your employment verification letter from your HR and you should be able to submit that in the SSN office. And the process is fairly simple. So ideally have an appointment on the very next day when you come into the US. But if they don't pick up, just book a cab and rush to the center and try to get as early appointment in the morning as possible. Otherwise, it can get crowded and you might not get an appointment for the same day. But yeah, I came here and my husband also came here and we were able to book an appointment, but the very next day we did do a walk-in. So walk-in is totally acceptable for most of the locations, and then just go when you get an appointment. But it's important that you do it the very next day. Yeah, so coming back to the story, me and my husband, we went in, we gave that interview, we submitted our documents, and we were just out within like an hour or so. Yeah, and so for me, I got my SSN because I've been here like about 5 years now. So I came here on a student visa. So I got my SSN for my first job. So once you get an SSN, you don't need to like change it for every job you get. That stays with you throughout your journey in the US. So I got mine for a TA assisting job, like a teaching assistant job in the university. And whatever documents you need, I will list it in the description. So check it out. So the third step is start your credit journey. Yeah, so by this time you are aware that you're running out of cash and you need a place to start getting that money so you can make those transactions. Of course, you need a debit card and credit card. So start with your bank account. So we have a lot of good banks here. Just check with your employer again if they have a tie-up with someone. But if not, just pick up any bank like Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or even if a local bank you want to go with them. It's all good. Just make sure you ask all the right questions, if they have any incentives for opening a bank account for a newcomer, because I got like a $200 discount when I opened my new bank account. So just make sure you ask those. Also, with big banks, they do charge a monthly fee, a certain fee, which can be waived if you deposit a certain amount in your bank or you keep a standard balance in your account. This can be waived, but again, ask for these things beforehand before you book your appointment. Also, make sure you apply for your credit card at that time, both your debit and your credit card. It's very important. If you have never used a credit card before, this is definitely the time to start getting used to having a credit history, because again, your credit histories, that's another big topic. But you don't really get your lease, you don't really get any loans if you don't have a credit history. So make sure you get your credit card with the bank account ASAP. Moving on to number 4. In my first year, I remember I just wanted to go out and eat every day. And you should do that because you're in a new place, in a new culture, and you should definitely try all the foods, all the cuisines you can get your hands on. Definitely the ones that are really famous in the US and are popular US chains. Start from McDonald's. Also, if you're a vegetarian, just know that cheeseburger is not exactly made of vegetarian cheese. It has the beef and all the meat that you can imagine. So yeah, be aware. So for Indians, I know there's like Patel Brothers mostly everywhere, or if not, you will always find like local stores nearby. Just search that on the maps. Yeah, and definitely your taste buds will start changing. Like when I came, I tried everything for like 2-3 weeks, and I spent almost like $300-400 on takeouts and on enjoying the restaurant experience. But after that, I did start craving my Indian parathas and my Indian paneer and sabzi and all of that. So I did some cooking, but again, you won't really find a lot of time to cook. So the great part is that there are a lot of things in the stores like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Sam's Club. These are like really good stores like Costco, and you will find a lot of things that are just ready to eat. So you just grab that packet, and it's pretty and it's decent. It's not like super expensive. So yeah, I mean, I spend I don't know exactly but I spend like $500 to $800 grocery every month. But if you're a student, you can expect to be spending somewhere around $300 to $500. If you're family, then of course it'll go up to like $1,000. And I think the bonus tip here would be that you will see self-checkouts everywhere, which was again a new experience, which is just go in line and the screen will show you step-by-step process of how to do it. It's a very fun experience. Number 5. So you're probably staying in an Airbnb or a hotel, and it's super expensive, and now you want to move to a permanent residence, which is a whole new, really full of headache kind of a scenario, finding a house, searching for a home here. So I will shoot another video stating the whole process of how to do it, the best tips. But for now, you should know that you can just go on Google and type, rent places near me, and you will get websites like apartments.com or Zillow, and these are all good, reliable sources to find a good apartment and see the reviews of that apartment. And the next thing you need to do is, of course, collect all your documents and go visit the place. Now, rent really varies depending on which city you're picking up. I am here in Dallas, and here the rents for 1 bedroom to 2 bedrooms range from somewhere around $1,000 to $3,000. I'm somewhere in the betweens. So in my 4-5 years of journey, I have moved, I think, around 6 times. So what I really like to do is, first of all, decide my location, like where do I want to rent my apartment. How far is it from my office? Do I have accessibility to USPS, any grocery stores? I like to have things at a walking distance. So yeah, if you do go a little further, your rents can also be a little bit cheaper. And of course, the most important thing, check the crime rates, in the neighborhood. If it's really cheap, you don't want to get into trouble. So just make sure at least the neighborhood you pick up is, decent. Its accessibility factor is high, especially if you're a newcomer, because you would need to see so much before you actually finalize you want to permanently stay. So if you don't understand anything, take help from an agent, and it's free of charge. They don't have to pay anything to them. So you can really get some great connections and understand a lot about the community through those agents. So do that. So you're on a good pace right now. You've done the top 5 most important things you must do in your first 30 days. So congratulations. Moving on to the 6th one, I thought I'll keep it a little light. So you are coming here, to America, and you're living your American dream. So have fun. I wish someone told me this. I wish I could tell my past self this, that have fun. Of course, like stress and tension is all going to be there for certain things, but keep those aside and have fun, because this time that you're living in your present moment will not come back. Live the moment, go enjoy, see new things, talk to people. There's so much to explore in America and to learn about their culture, and it's so beautiful. So don't be afraid of trying new experiences. If you don't understand anything, start from that cafe, near your house. Visit stores like Target, Walmart, CVS, know the area. It'll really help you build that confidence, and you'll feel more comfortable as you get accustomed to these new experiences here. Last but not the least, another important thing that you must do is get your driving license. There are big cities like California, New York, Chicago, where the public transport is pretty good, but I would say if you're moving anywhere other than this, especially like Texas or Arizona or Utah, get ready to spend thousands of dollars on your Uber ride in the first few days until you get a car, because the bus system or the metro system is not very established. So you definitely need a car as soon as possible. We got our driving license first in the first 2 weeks, and then we planned on the car in the next 2 months of our stay here. So even if you don't plan to get a car immediately, of course it'll take time because you'll need to research, but do get your driving license as soon as within the 2 weeks that you are here. It is not a very simple process. You need to get your learner's permit, then you need to get your driving license, and the most important thing is that you really need to learn driving here. The US road system is totally opposite to whatever you've been driving up till now. So don't be scared. Just go to a driving school. I also did go to a driving school. It's very fast. That way, if you try to learn yourself, it can take a lot of time. I just went to a driving school and took like an hour lesson, got it done, and then just practiced on my own. The appointments can take like 2 to 3 months to just get to. So just make sure after you've done with the first 5 or 6 steps, make sure this is the top one on your to-do list. Seriously, driving is like freedom here. You will feel so much better when you can drive and get around the city on your own terms and save you tons of money. So like on an average, an Uber ride would cost you, if you're going even like 5 to 10 miles for the shortest distance, you might have to pay somewhere around $15 to $25. And if you're of course going really far, then you have to pay almost like $50 to $80 for one single ride. Of course, you need to have your driving history as well. You have to have like your DL out all the time. Because even if you lose it, you can just get a new one. But if you lose your passport, it's a whole new deal. So don't do that. These are the first 7 things you must do in the US if you want a good, nice year. It is going to be a hassle, yes, for the first few days, but once it is out of the way, you can so much more be focused on the work you're here to do. If you're already here, let me know if you have a crazy story to share around any of these. If you're about to move, definitely save this video, share it with a friend who needs to hear this. That's all. Hope you enjoyed and had a great time. I definitely did have a great time. I'm going to go take a walk now. See you next time. Bye.